All righty, so those live meetings are starting to go on again. Very excited about that, to see that happen. All right, so our lesson this week, we are going to be talking about sales track, the beginning. We're going back to the very beginning and starting our lesson. Last week, we talked about the 5 steps of success. We've been on a strong training for weeks on recruiting. And with the 5 steps of success, what was highlighted as being the most important thing there is your name list. Make a name list. Get your self-training done, get your own analysis run. All of these are very important steps when you're coming in as a new agent. But what was highlighted by most was make a name list. Don't spend all of your time in the library trying to figure out how this works. Get with the person that recruited you, get a name list, set up a top 25, and start making phone calls and start setting up appointments. So what is sales track? Well, sales track is a detailed and systematic approach to the sale of products, goods, and services. Sales track is exactly what the name implies, a track to run on to ensure the best possible outcome to your sales process. We could put / recruiting process as well. The first 6 lessons of sales track are as follows. Starting point, with whom do I start? Your 15-second commercial, the use of qualifiers and tie downs, your personal and or borrowed story. If you don't have a personal story, borrow one. You can do that through watching the videos, self-training, or create your own borrowed story by purchasing the Worth account and using it yourself. The litmus test is item number 5, and item number 6 would be setting your appointment in stone. This you could do through a corporate field closer, or you can run your own analysis and do this from beginning to end. So over the next 6 to 10 weeks, this is what we're going to be focusing on, is these first 6 lessons of sales track. So sales track, starting point. Okay, I'm an agent with Worth, but I don't know where to start. What is my first step? I'm not sure how to position the Worth account, or in what order I should be giving information to a prospective client or prospective agent. And I think many individuals feel this way when they first get involved in any kind of a business. They find this place between learning the product and actually getting out and performing. And many people become paralyzed by this idea or this concept of how do I start, where do I start, what do I do next? Well, let's remember this, that agents and clients are the same. In both cases, you want to follow some simple steps, but in all cases, treat a prospective client the same way you would treat a prospective agent. We've talked about the fact that the first 6 steps of sales track are really your introduction. It should be about 15 to 20 minutes of conversation. And we have talked about allowing your conversations to grow organically. Ask to find questions, point the client in a direction, the prospect for a product or for signing up. But the conversation should be very organic, and in all cases, treat your clients and your agent prospects exactly the same way. You never know who may start out wanting to be an agent and want to become a client, and who starts out wanting to be a client and then later wants to become an agent. In reality, they are the same thing. Your primary goal is to get them on the product so you can earn money, or get them to sign up with you so they can duplicate your process. Simply recruiting them does not ensure they will ever sell anything. Isn't that correct? And that is correct. If we use a win-win process, if you gain an agent in the process, that's an added benefit, and they will have already been introduced to the basics of the process. The vice versa is true as well. If you gain, if you go and you recruit with intention and you recruit an agent, you may very well gain a prospect for sale of the product in the process of getting that agent. So the more that I'm becoming defined with this and really understanding this process, we've always heard you recruit to sell or sell to recruit. We have both fields. We have both ideas taking place within our business. I've always been a believer in do both. Be intentional with your conversation, be intentional with your approach and your information, and through your questioning and through your sales track and through following the process, your client is going to identify for you where their hot spots are, what it is that is really getting their attention when it comes to Worth Unlimited. Is it the product, is it the business, or is it both? Concentrate on leading everyone to giving you their numbers for a short questionnaire, the free savings report, the analysis, whatever you want to call that. But concentrate whether you're bringing them in as a prospect or whether you are bringing them in as a client. Concentrate on every single person that you encounter. The end game is you want to try to get their numbers. You want to show them what this product can do for them. Even if they're looking at it to be an agent, you want them to have that idea, that concept that this product truly is powerful and truly does what we say it will do. So with whom do I start? I suggest you start with people you know, the individual homeowner. There's the ones that really need it and are looking for relief, need a need, one-on-one. Then move on from there with people you don't really know. I want to sit here for just a second. If you are selling a product and you don't have the confidence to share it with your family, friends, and relatives, then you need to go back and visit the product. You need to go back and really determine, is this something you truly believe in? If you truly believed in it, you would bring it to family, friends, neighbors, anyone and everyone you know. We've heard from Joan and Darlene, don't make the decision for someone else. Just make your list. Just make the list, get with the leader, and start making phone calls. You would be amazed how many people actually are looking for relief at this particular juncture in their lives and are looking for new ways for additional income streams, are looking for ways to eliminate their debts, are looking for ways to eliminate these huge student loans that are now coming up, taking out that vacation. The product has so many facets of finance that it touches that we really should not be the ones determining who should hear the message and who should not. Just put the message out there. So step one, with whom do I start? Start with B2B, back to the basics list. Brainstorm. Spend 1 to 2 hours brainstorming on everyone you know. Do not judge. Just write down every name that comes to mind. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Dr. Joan, because Dr. Joan, this is really her wheelhouse. Dr. Joan, do we have you there?
I am here. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. How are you doing today?
I think I have allergies, which I've never had before, so you're going to hear me sniff and sneeze.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you know, things happen. Are you okay, or should I just keep going?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Yeah, all's good.
Okay, so I'm going to populate this. That's all right. I'm going to populate this screen for you. And if you'll just kind of take over, because I know this is really big to you. This is how you have built your business. So if you feel comfortable speaking to this, please move forward.
Oh, absolutely. You're absolutely right. This is how I've built my business. And quite frankly, I have lulls in my business just as everybody else. And every time I have a lull, this is what I go back to. This is the basics. So you should, if you've not done this before, you're going to do this at least spend about 1 to 2 hours doing this activity. And you want to be in a place where you're not going to be interrupted, where you're not going to be judging anything. You're just going to sit down and you're going to write out any and every name that comes to mind. You're going to use a memory jogger to help remind you of different professions. You're going to use your cell phone, go through the cell phone list, go through your social media, go through your Christmas card list, go through anything and everything that you can possibly think of. Write down any and every name that comes to mind. Now, my suggestion is actually not to write it on a piece of paper. My suggestion is actually to get out an Excel spreadsheet and type it into the Excel spreadsheet. Have a column for first name, have a column for last name. Because later, you can then go back and judge, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can also input an email address. You can input a phone number. You can input notes about your discussion points, and it's easier to help manipulate the data later. Now, also I do that because I have really bad handwriting, so it just helps me be able to read it later. But the Excel spreadsheet is a pretty easy tool to use. So spend a good 1 to 2 hours doing this activity. Again, this is without judgment. You're not here to determine whether or not somebody's a good fit. You're here to simply write out names so that you don't forget anybody. After you've gone through and after you've sat there without any other name coming to mind for a good 5 minutes, because normally an additional name will come out. After that time frame, then you're going to judge. You're going to say, okay, without really putting too much thought into this, is this an agent prospect, a client prospect, or both? Now, why do I say not too much thought? This is, oh, this person just bought a house. They were already complaining about all the interest that they were going to give away to the financial institution. That's a really good prospect to say is a client prospect. Now, what if somebody just told you, oh, my goodness gracious, I just lost my job, or I need an additional source of income. I'm really looking to build my business. I don't know how to build my core business. Well, that's an agent prospect. That's a really good person to follow up with on the agent side. So you can put down what you think you're going to have that conversation. Again, you're not here to make that decision for somebody. This is your guess on what they'll be, an agent prospect, client prospect, or both. And then you're going to rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. One's not so hot. One is Aunt May, who's 105 years old. She hasn't worked in years. She has no desire to work another day in her life, and she has no debt. That's a 1. That's somebody that's probably not going to be an agent prospect or a client prospect. However, she still goes on your list because guess what? She could be a strategic alliance. She may know somebody that has debt or that's looking for an additional source of income. So she still goes on that list. Now, the other side of it is a 10. That's that person that was just complaining about all that interest they're giving away to the financial institution. That's a hot lead. That's somebody you want to call on right away, and you're going to call on your top 10 people. Now, this activity is not to be done solely one time. This is an activity that you do on an ongoing, regular basis to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks. This is also the start of your database. Anybody and everybody from here on out goes into that database. And again, I like to do it in an Excel spreadsheet because then you can put it into a contact management system. You could put them on a drip campaign. You can type in notes like I mentioned. You can do a whole bunch of other information and manipulate the data a lot easier typing it that way. But once a quarter minimum, I would suggest even more often, maybe even once a month, you need to sit back down and spend about 15 to 20 minutes doing this activity. Again, the goal is to ensure that nobody falls through the cracks. So just do this on a regular basis. Who did you meet in the last 30 days? Who did you run into at golf while you were golfing? Who did you run into when you're dropping the kid off? Who did you sit next to at church for the first time? All these people go into your database, and you want to make sure that you're constantly building it, constantly filling it. So that's what this is all about. Oh, look, you went to the next one. Cool. To me, this truly is one of the most important steps that you can possibly take. This will help you be bulletproof. This is going to help you know that when you hear the word no, and trust me, you will hear the word no. If you have not heard the word no, you are not talking to enough people. And we'll talk about no in just a minute. But when you hear the word no, it gives you your next to-do. You have a list of several hundred people in front of you. The average person, when they do this activity one time, comes up with 250 people. So you know when you hear the word no, you have another 249 other people that also need this more than ever, whether it's client, whether it's an agent. So it gives you your next to-do. It's going to help decrease commission breath because, you know, we all want to qualify for the promotions. We all want to feel like we're getting that extra check. We all want those extra little monies coming our way. But that can also cloud how we are coming across to people. And we can sound a little bit overeager. So when you have a list of other people that you can follow up with, this will decrease your commission breath because you know, gosh, if this person says no again, I have another to do. I have somebody else that I can follow up with. So it's really going to be a helpful thing. This truly is the most important thing that you can do. This is your gold. This is the most important thing that you can do for your business. It is the biggest asset of your business. Your biggest tool is your phone. I have the number 5 written all over my office that reminds me to contact 5 new people per day. where do you think I get those 5 people? From my list. If I didn't have my list, that'd be kind of hard to pick up the phone and call 5 new people. So this truly is the most important thing you can do for your business, but it means nothing if you don't go out and actually use it. So you do need to pick up the phone and start calling on people. Matt?
All righty. Well, Joan, thank you so much for that. Thank you very much. And always great commentary from you. Can you hear me? Am I coming through?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're coming through.
Okay. All right. All right. Just wanted to make sure. And thank you again, Joan, for that. And
My pleasure.
We'll move on from there. Thank you. You know, tonight I don't want to do a super, super lengthy meeting. I really want you to get this idea down. For any of you that are on this call that have not sat down and written your name list, I want you to use the next few hours. I want you to use the next couple of days getting your name list together. Your name list is what is going to make the difference. If you go out there just willy-nilly with a bunch of names and people and ideas, you're really not going to see the success. Have a plan. Come up with a name list. Get with the leader. Storyboard it a little bit. What's your conversation going to look like? What kind of message are you going to leave? What are you going to say to them? Bounce this off of your leaders, what they have had success with in doing this. This is going to set the stage for your business. Now, next week, we're going to talk about some prospecting ideas. We're going to talk about, you know, the necessity to follow up. We're going to dig deeper into this whole idea about creating your name list. But tonight, I really wanted to get the point across to everybody. This is your most important step in sales, period. Bar none, above anything you will do, above any lessons you will learn, above any studying you will do, creating this name list, getting with a leader, and starting to make phone calls is really where your business is going to come together and where the rubber is going to hit the road. Don't let fear be the catalyst that keeps you from achieving your potential. Do it. Make the time to do it. Don't procrastinate. Don't put it off. Procrastination is the grave that success was buried in. I want to encourage everyone on the call, get your name list together, get together with a leader, and start doing something with your business today. I could never be more proud of the individuals that I have been associated with in this business. Rely on your training, rely on the materials you have, and get out there and get busy. This has been Max Saunders, Darlene Preston, and Joan Hackenstad with Worth Unlimited in the Agent Update and Sales Track Training starting point for July 16, 2018. Let's get out there and do it big. Let's get out there and do it right. But at the very least, let's get out there and do it right now. This is Max Saunders saying bye-bye for now.